Deal done. U.S. government open, but at what cost? Lawmakers brokered an 11th-hour deal last night to end the shutdown and temporarily fund the government. But there are still many questions about the country's financial state. And just because we have a deal, what about your money? Is it safe? So many questions. Today, we get answers. Dr. Memo is an economic expert and founding director of the Business, Economic, and Community Outreach Network, or Beacon. Dr. Derricker, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure.
So lawmakers came up with an agreement last night. So what does that mean?
Well, they decided to decide later, essentially. That's what they decided. They have stopped the government shutdown. They are going to revisit that in January. They have stopped the debt clock. They're going to revisit that in February. And they have decided to include in their discussions, budget discussions, a December deadline for coming to some kind of longer term agreement.
So they've set deadlines for themselves, really?
Correct.
Okay. So this is just a temporary Band-Aid. Could we find ourselves in the same situation all over again?
This is the fear. It almost sounds as if they're going to go back, prepare, and come back to do battle again. And who knows what kind of ultimatum each side is going to come up with as those deadlines near. Because we've been seeing this over and over again, and instead of fixing it once and moving longer term, they've decided to just wait a bit and go at it again.
Hopefully they learned a lesson from this first time. Now, with everything that's going on, we have to wonder about our money. Let's start off with our 401ks. Is there anything we should be doing?
Well, everybody's situation is individual and different. By and large, we should not make decisions in the short term. We need to talk to our investment advisors, and we need to look at things in the longer term. As long as the economy is fine, nothing is going to change that much in the near future, because like everybody else, everybody's looking at these new deadlines, and everybody's going to take a long, deep breath, and they're going to wait to see what happens next.
Okay. What about our savings account?
Savings accounts are not the greatest investment vehicles. The interest rates are very, very low. And they're insured. So that's not where the battle is going to be. The battle is going to be in Wall Street in the investment sector.
Okay. Right now, there's no need to be pulling money out of our accounts. I mean, is there anything we should be doing? Not slipping it under the mattress or anything like that?
My grandfather was a very wise man, and he did a lot of investing, and he always told me, play this game for the long term. It's too much of a gamble to play any kind of investment game in the short term. Of course, again, individual situations vary from person to person, situation to situation, so the best advice is always to talk to your own personal financial advisor. But in reality, most of us do this in the long term, and in the long term, we're okay.
Okay, what about the future? What about if we want to go out for a loan or a mortgage or anything like that?
Well, that's a question mark, because markets do not like uncertainty, and we are exactly legislating uncertainty right now. And in that kind of a situation, if the economy's recovery, which already is a little bit anemic, the job growth is a little bit slow, if that gets delayed further, more people are going to find themselves in a situation where they're not going to qualify for loans. For those who can qualify, that's a buyer's market.
All right. Now, there are so many people who are always looking for that smart investment, and you say we have that market uncertainty. Should we be even doing that right now?
Unless you really, really know what you're doing, let's go back to my grandfather's advice and take a really long-term view and buy for the longer holding period rather than these short-term movements. Because most of the time, it is so much of a gamble to make that short-term decision. Yes, if you win, the win is big, but corollary to that is if you lose, the lose is big as well.
Right.
Talk to your advisor. Try to play the long game.
Okay, and speaking of the long game, the long term, what about the nation's economy? What's it look like for the long term?
No economy likes manufactured crises, and that's exactly what we went through. We created collectively a crisis, and we have affected our economy, and in ways that we won't even know for a while yet. It's almost like after a hurricane, it takes us a while to determine what the damage is. That's what's going to happen here. Just think of the hot dog vendor outside Washington who's lost 70% of his business during this shutdown for 2 weeks. That's never coming back. Nobody is giving his furlough monies. He's lost that. That money he didn't have, he didn't stay in, use in the economy. So this kind of manufacturing crisis, we can't afford another one of those. Unfortunately, we have 3 more chances to do it in the next 4 months.
So if there's some advice or one message you would give to the American people, what would it be? Just
pick that phone up, Get online, tell your elected officials, no more please, no mas.
All right, Dr. Memo Derricker, thank you so much. It's always nice to know what's going on. And of course, we've been talking about getting your finances in order. Another reason to do that, if an accident or injury keeps you home from work without a paycheck, how would you pay the bills? We have some answers so you can plan for the worst while hoping for the best. How about working for yourself? If you've ever thought of starting your own business, just a few key decisions could mean the difference between success or failure. We'll have the top startup pitfalls and how to avoid them. And something that's tough for all of us to avoid, junk food. Just how unhealthy are those snacks you get at the movie theaters? We'll find out. But first, we have a seat waiting for you in the Delmarva Life audience. Come be part of the fun. To book your seat, just visit delmarvalife.com and click on the Show tab. There on the right side of the page is the Ticket tab under For Our Audience. Or you can give us a call, 443-880-9116. Delmarva Life will be right back.